It's kind of sad to see what's become of Bill Maher. He's got Trump derangement syndrome, and he's got it's beyond just Trump. There's a kind of political bias exacerbation and shift happening among the left. I was talking to a friend recently who said that she used to be pro-choice but didn't agree with third trimester abortion, now telling me she's totally for it in any circumstance. And I was just like, how did that happen? Like, why did your principles change? Because mine didn't, right? I have no idea. But look at this story. Bill Maher is slammed for saying that Democrats should make an issue of Amy Coney Barrett's Catholicism because being nuts is relevant. Bravo, good sir. The Democrats warned about attacking Amy Coney Barrett's religion because it will fire up Republicans to make them go vote. Now, Bill Maher he's well known for his criticism of religion. But I remember the documentary he did called Religulous. That was actually fine. I liked it. I don't consider myself particularly religious. I don't consider myself an atheist. Agnostic maybe isn't the right word. But seeing this from Bill Maher is, to me, him going more extreme. Why? I vaguely remember this. I could be wrong. But I remember he mentioned something about how people were praying for him. This might actually be in Religulous. People prayed for him. And as much as he doesn't agree with it, he said he appreciated it because it showed that they were willing to do something they thought would help. They were going out of their way to give him time and energy. And that shows that as much as he doesn't think it does anything, that was nice of them. They're trying to do something for him. Now, he's calling Catholicism being nuts. Joe Biden is a Catholic. Joe Biden says he is a practicing Catholic. Is Joe Biden nuts? Okay, hey, I'll tell you what. I ain't going to vote for him. Bill Maher said so. And this is going to have a repercussion because Bill Maher, like many of these other people, are piling on Amy Coney Barrett, who seems very nice. I don't have any complaints about her. I know a lot of people who are Catholic. What are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to insult these people? Tell them they're all stupid? Not work with them? Not be friends with them? Not buy from them? That's insane. There are a large portion of people in this country, the majority actually, who are Christian, a large portion who are Catholic, and we live together and we work together. Well, here's what Bill said. Commentator Bill Maher has drawn a backlash after calling Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett nuts and arguing that Senate Democrats should make an issue of her Catholic faith. Chuck Schumer said Democrats won't make Barrett's religion an issue, but they should because being nuts is relevant, Maher said in a monologue on Real Time. After hearing this week, the Senate Judiciary Committee set October 22nd for its vote to recommend Barr's nomination to the full Senate, with a final confirmation vote by month's end. Maher began his monologue by mocking threats from Democrats to pack the Supreme Court, saying it's already packed with Catholics. I don't know what you're trying to say. Are you for or against it? Roberts, Thomas, Alito, Kavanaugh, Sotomayor, and Gorsuch, who I count as Catholic because he was raised Catholic and is now an Episcopalian, which is just a Catholic who flunked Latin, Maher joked. And once, when Mitch McConnell and company are done FedExing Amy Coney Barrett to the bench, 7 of the 9 justices will be Catholics, he continued. The 2 other sitting justices, Stephen Breyer and Elena Kagan, are Jewish, as was late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, whose vacated seat Barrett would fill. Maher, in childhood, was raised as a Catholic by his Catholic father and Jewish mother, and now identifies as atheist. In his monologue, he argued that atheists are the fastest growing denomination in the country and should be represented on the Supreme Court. We are 26% of the country. Where's our voice in the Supreme Court, Maher said of atheists? And atheists actually make better judges because they don't have to work to separate church and state. We're not torn between rational decision making and what is in the old book of Jewish fairy tales, he added. Maher laid into Barrett for her Catholic beliefs and anti-abortion convictions, saying, she's been groomed since birth to overturn Roe versus Wade. She's like the Terminator, a robot programmed to fulfill one task, except she wasn't sent from the future. She was sent from the past. His harsh attacks drew backlash from Barrett's supporters, who accused him of crossing the line in his criticisms. Bill Maher is calling ACB an effing nut. How about all the rude and nasty things Democrats said about her adoption, her face, her clothing? The hate of the left has been literally everywhere these past couple of weeks. If you cannot see it, you have to be willfully ignorant. Let me just stop and ask a question. Why is it that we've gone from pro-life with exceptions and pro-choice with exceptions to pro-life with exceptions and literally no restrictions. I've had many conversations about abortion with many conservatives, notably on the Glenn Beck podcast a year ago, maybe it was a year ago. And it was interesting. Typically, when I talk to conservatives, there are exceptions for abortion. It's usually just not to be used as a contraceptive, meaning if there is a medical reason, if there is, I think medical reason is the easiest way to explain it. And I think some conservatives have even said in the events of rape and incest. I don't agree with that. But I do consider myself to be pro-choice, but there's restrictions. What is it, safe, legal, and rare? At a certain point, I don't think you can do it with exceptions. So let me clarify my position. If there is an instance where in the third trimester, serious health consequences to the life of the baby or the mother, then I think that's up to the doctor. As contraception, I hate in all forms, 100%. But I don't believe, if no reason is given, that the state has the authority to mandate a person provide their body, their blood to another person. So it's a very difficult position. I don't want to get into too much on this because I know it is contentious. But here's the point I'm trying to make. I've had conversations with conservatives about this and pro-life individuals, and they tell me I'm wrong, and they argue with me. And I think that's fine. Let's have that conversation. But how did we go from a country that's pro-life with some exceptions, medical, for instance, and pro-choice, to literally now the left is saying straight up, no restrictions, whenever they want, there's nothing in this bill, you can just do it. That to me is crazy. And so that says to me that ACB is not the extremist. Amy Coney Barrett's not the extremist. Bill Maher and the rest of them are going too far left. Check this out. Here we go. Am I now nuts? Does this mean that Bill Maher is going to be voting for Donald Trump? Because newsflash, Joe Biden is a Catholic. That I find particularly funny. Holly Green says, Bill Maher, you're a disgusting person. ACB confirmation, calling ACB is a effing nut. Honestly, I think he went too far in calling her a nut. I really do not like that. I grew up Catholic, briefly. I'm not a fan of the church. I'm not a fan of organized religion, but I'm a fan of religious freedom and respecting people's worldviews. I had this conversation last night when we were on the IRL podcast, and I said something. Let me explain. I believe in free speech. I do not believe all speech is good. I believe some speech is really bad. I just don't trust anybody to be the arbiter of what speech is right or wrong. So I'd rather just have free speech for everybody. The same is true for religion. I'm not a fan of organized religion, and I myself am not into any organized religion or theistic dogma or anything like that. Though I don't consider myself an atheist, I do believe in God. I think there's probably, there are many people who think they know, and I don't trust any of them to be in charge because you get one religion lording over another, and then I just don't want to have that happen, which means I have to accept that I may disagree with someone and not see the world the way they do, but I have to respect their right to practice their religion and be who they are. Bill Maher, in my opinion, has developed some kind of partisan derangement syndrome. Trump derangement syndrome, yes, he has that. We understand that. That's where people are just irrationally angry with the president. But there's something else. And that's why I brought up the pro-life versus pro-choice stuff like, what's her face, Michelle Wolf, when she was like, everybody get abortions. It's like, that's crazy, That's partisan derangement syndrome. The Republicans are bad. Therefore, everything they believe, I believe the opposite. And that's what I think comes if Donald Trump loses. I don't think there's a scenario where Trump loses and then all of a sudden everything goes back to normal. You would be mistaken if you thought that was the case. It won't be. It will not. It's not coming back. We are not going to the days of old. The internet is here. Social media is here. The changes are here, and you cannot stop them. What you can do is, by voting for Biden, putting Biden in office, empowering the establishment at a time when they keep chasing after Twitterati. So those are the woke leftists, and they're going to enact fringe, insane, politics. And then partisan derangement syndrome will result. And the Democrats saying no matter what the Republicans say, we must hate. Take a look at the metrics. What do you get? Republicans have been negotiating with Democrats. Democrats have not been negotiating with Republicans. This is a tendency. You can look up the data from Pew. I've shown the chart several times. Republicans are more likely to. The Democrats are less likely to. What happens? The left will say something like war is bad. The Republicans will say, okay, fine. War is bad. No, war is good. That's partisan derangement syndrome. Bill Maher will say, you're a Catholic, you're a nut. That's a much more extreme position than I've heard him take in the past. I could be wrong. I know he's been atheist for a long time. He made that documentary about it. But in the documentary, he was respectful to the people he was meeting. Now he's not. Now he's saying you're a nut if you believe in these religions. I'll tell you what, man. You make up 26% of this country, substantial portion, large and fastest growing group of people in terms of religion. Is this how Bill Maher always felt? And he's just saying this now because he feels comfortable because the numbers are growing? Or is he being radicalized like many other people and becoming just a hateful individual? I seem to recall Bill Maher saying he was going to tone things down because he was worried about how close we were to civil war. Bill Maher said it. So why the hate? I don't know, man. I'm not into it. I'm not. Elections have consequences. Go vote. And if Trump loses and the Republicans don't win, well, then there you go. Consequences. That's Trump. I'll leave it there. I got one more segment coming up in a few minutes. Stick around and I will see you all shortly.